Be watching carefully, because we would like you to separate two of the greatest goals perhaps ever seen. Now, on the left, there's Diego Maradona's, on the right rather, mazy dribble from Argentina's clash, of course, with England at the 1986 World Cup, versus the recent contribution from another Argentine, Barcelona wonder kid Lionel Messi. Both very similar, as you can see, but we're asking which do you prefer, and at present 62% like that of Diego Maradona. So if you want to place your vote on which you think is the better goal, simply send us a text message for either A for Diego Maradona or B for Lionel Messi, and the number is 19902727, and we'll keep you posted throughout the afternoon. Now, I wonder what our studio guest thinks. It's Sydney FC's goal-scoring playmaker Steve Corica. Steve, good to see you.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. What goal do you like?
For me, I think it's Diego. He was a hero of mine when I was growing up. Two fantastic goals, by the way, but for me, I think it's Diego Maradona's goal, especially it's in a World Cup as well, so it's pretty hard to beat that, I think.
Now, Steve, as much as I respect your opinion, bear with me on this one, because maybe you might want to give yourself a bit of a rap here, because we're going to turn the clock back now 13 years, in fact, and a young Steve Corica, you'll see here in the clash between Marconi and Sydney Olympic, picks up
from here
a loose ball and off he goes.
Same area,
just watch.
You know, it's the same areas.
Yeah. I mean, not as many players to beat.
No,
remember this one?
Still.
I do remember this bit. Parramatta Stadium, I think it was.
13 years ago.
Nice hairdo.
Yeah, we thought we'd give you a rap, because since we're comparing goals that were, you know, half the length of a pitch, we had to pull out your one.
Not quite as good as
you can't complain being compared to Maradona.
Well,
Messi,
exactly, yeah. It's fantastic.
Scoring's been a habit for you in the Asian Champions League recently. 4 goals, I think, joint top scorer now in that competition. And it's really been good going for you. What has been, I guess, the thing about your game, do you think, with a new coach as well in charge? Has anything, do you think, changed in a certain way with your game?
Not really. You know, I try to play the same way all the time if I can. The goals have just been coming at the moment. I think Branko's got us playing a nice style of football, a passing game. He's got a lot of boys which probably weren't playing as well last year, all their confidence coming back. So I think that's the major key there. A lot of boys are confident. We're playing well. You know, we look like winning every game, which is a big point as well.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Most of the matches you've been involved in, you've either come out very hard and got early leads, and if you've let it slip or not, or you've gone on with it, now you're in a good position. I mean, at least you are there fighting for a spot in the next round. So, I mean, what do you think about your chance of getting through with these 2 matches to come against Shanghai and Urua?
Well, we're feeling confident. You know, obviously the games have been going our way. We've been scoring early. Our last game was the only game we haven't really scored early. They put us under a lot of pressure. You know, they sat back a little bit in the first half. So, you know, we talked about it at half time, how we're going to break them down. And I think if we kept the ball better than what we did in the first half, we're in with a shout, get it wide, and we did that. And the goals came in the second half. The next couple of games are going to be exciting for all of us, really. The Shanghai game is the big one for us. If we can get 3 points there, you know, then we can go to Japan and, you know, hopefully win the group. Yeah,
well, let's have a look at the highlights from the clash against Percy Kadiri. It finished 3-0 for Sydney, but there was a goal disallowed early on. It didn't look like it should have been blown there or held up for a free kick. Mark Rudin with the header, did he have his hands over the defender well?
Is that what the ruling
was?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but, well, you know, when you jump for a ball, you put your hands up anyway, so I think that was a good goal, must say.
And you're talking about players now who are starting to play better and coming back into the side, starting to get a lot more confident. There's a few of them, but David Julius must be one of the main ones. I mean, he took a lot of plaudits after the game. What do you think about David's form?
Well, he's done fantastic well, obviously, since Branko's taken over. He had him as a boy at Sydney United, and his confidence is coming back. He's played fantastic in this game, held the ball up well for us, set up both goals, well, 2 goals, and so unfortunately he hasn't scored yet, I think, in the competition.
And the other one, I guess, for me, is who scored on the night was Brosk. He promises so much, but just, you know, even last season and even up to now, he's got I think 2 seasons ago when he was at Queensland, he played better than anything he's done for Sydney so far. Nice to see him get a goal. Hopefully that'll boost his confidence a little bit and get him back.
Yeah, he's definitely a confidence player, Broski. He was scoring goals late last season, and he's got a goal last week. So hopefully, you know, he'll keep banging in the goals. He's a quality player. He's still young and raw, really, but hopefully Branko will bring the best out in him.
Let's have a look at the table just to confirm the situation. 1 point the difference between Urua and, of course, Sydney FC at the moment at the top of that section, and that's going to be, I guess, an interesting now finish to this section. That's the other result, Shanghai and Urua scoreless. But when we do look at the table, you'll see that there they are, the two at the top, with Sydney to host Shanghai and then travelling to Saitama on match day 6. So we've seen you already beat Shanghai, but I think you might have got them at a time where there was a bit of turmoil at their club as well, where the two clubs in Shanghai had merged. And now you've got them maybe starting to gradually come into some form, perhaps, because they've got a point off Urua, which is, I guess, a great thing for you guys. But what do you think now about the renewed challenge of facing them at home?
Well, like I said, it's going to be a difficult game. We need definitely 3 points from this game to set us up for the last game against Japan. But you know, they're a quality team, and obviously you've seen they got the draw against Urua there. So you know, we need to play to our potential and hopefully score a few more goals.
Big boost to have Carney back for that game?
Yeah, definitely. Carney will be back and Ruben Zakovic as well. So we've got a couple of problems as well. I think Mark Rudin has got a bit of a strain in his calf, so I'm not too sure how he's going to be.
And the other thing about that is that you have been able to try and accommodate so many players, it seems, with a threadbare squad at times, whether it's injury or suspension. It's almost as though you've been working with a very small amount of players. Those on the fringe, maybe the likes of Glavash and Casey, the players who were brought in, even like Spencer, aren't getting a lot of time. So there's a core unit there, led by yourself perhaps, which is really having to push, which is in your off-season. How is the body holding up? How are the players coping with these demands in the off-season while you're up against teams who are in full flight? Yeah,
it's obviously difficult playing every couple of weeks. Branko tries to get a game against a state league club, you know, which we need during the weeks. Even though it's not like a Asian Champions League game or even an A-League game, but you know, they seem to raise their game against us and give us, you know, the workout we need midweek. So, but it doesn't help, you know, playing every couple of weeks.
And players also coming in and out, Craig, such as you've got Milligan and Topol Stanley, who've had the Ollie Roos campaign along with Zadkovic. So it seems as though there have been so many things to manage here, and yet they're still there fighting for a spot in the next round. Yeah,
well, as we said a couple of weeks ago, I think it's extraordinary, to be honest with you. It's a great credit to all of the team that when you can be out of season, and you know, look when Urua come here. I mean, you know, that's a massive club in Asian terms, and they come here. I think they played 3 games in their season. They were in reasonable form, so they've just done a pre-season, and you know what that's like as an experienced guy, right? Right after the pre-season, you're only in the 3rd game. You're feeling so fresh and confident. Right. You can't run enough, and these guys are out of season. So even to go, I think in the first 2 games was when you really set up your campaign. You went against the 2 hardest teams, Shanghai and Urua, and got exceptional results. And I see at the moment, I think they're going to get through.
OK, thanks for the moment, guys.